in terms of why Verso I think is so important, as an English teacher, we need to essentially teach them how to read the world. And by using Verso, we can actually sort of pop into each of their minds and see how they're currently reading the world or currently reading some kind of issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really a great way to put it. The fact that every student responds and we can track so easily who has responded and who's still waiting, it allows us to target those kids who are perhaps taking a little bit longer, and we can go over and we can just check in and say, do you understand the question? Do you need some support? And it really allows us to differentiate our teaching and make sure that those top-end kids are being extended to really delve into some deep ideas, while we can support some of the ones who might be struggling a little bit, make sure they're all on track.
And I think particularly discussion is such a valuable tool in the classroom. Discussion used to be something that once it was out there, it was gone. So now we have a way of capturing that discussion. And one of the things that I've used with it is that you then go back to it 2 weeks later and you go, this is what you guys were talking about 2 weeks ago. What do you think about that now? And that for them has been absolutely an extraordinary experience for them, because they then go, oh my God, I can't believe that that was where I was, and now look at where I am. Yeah. So having that ability to retouch a discussion as well and actually revisit it, I think is really valuable.
Yeah, and that was so helpful in Year 7 English, and we were teaching text response essays. So we actually had, for our Verso discussion, it was a prompt from each week, and those prompts actually re-emerged at the end of our unit for our summative assessment, and it was really great. They were able to explore those ideas, and then at the end of the unit, you were able to revisit it and see how it had changed and how it had developed, and you had that much deeper thinking, which is what we want to see. I think it's definitely our generation of kids, it's a lot more organic for them. I remember the first time we set it up, we thought this might be a bit chaotic. We said, okay, use your email account, this is the website, and straight away they all opened their iPads and they were responding within probably a minute or two.
So familiar to them.
Yeah.
The whole process of navigating the site and reading people's ideas, liking things. We didn't really need to teach them how to use it. It just came naturally to them. Something
they like being able to like other people's comments.
They like
that positive feedback is fabulous.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Something I've found it really useful for as well is actually getting students to create their own questions. So my instruction will be perhaps giving them a stimulus, so viewing a film, for example, and rather than having a list of discussion questions that we would perhaps traditionally have had, I say to students, whilst we watch the film, you need to craft 5 questions. And at the end, you're going to choose perhaps your best 1 or 2 or 3, post them on Verso, and then respond to other people. So it's steering the discussion in the direction that they're interested in taking it. And I've also tried using some sentence starters that I give them to help them respond to other people's ideas. So I agree with something because, or have you noticed that? And sort of trying to really elicit deep responses when they comment on other people's ideas, because I don't just want them saying, oh, great point, I agree with this. I want them to delve deeper than that. So I've found that providing them with some sentence starters is a good tool for that. Well, yeah, it's a great formative assessment tool, and it's there and we can see where they're at. And something I really like is watching kids who wouldn't perhaps normally sit next to each other or wouldn't normally interact, and I'm watching them engage in this discussion on Verso, which I think is really nice because they don't even know they're doing it. So perhaps, these relationships, without them realising it, they are growing and they're widening, and kids are broadening who they're discussing things with in their class.
I love using it to highlight some of the students you usually wouldn't see contributing in the classroom. I remember last term we had one student who Asperger's quite shut off, had this fantastic idea, and I said, can I use this? I want to write it up on the board. And he was so excited that was up there, and a couple of the kids were like, oh, who wrote that? And that was, he was able to talk to other students as well that he wouldn't have spoken to normally as well, and that was a really nice moment.
I definitely think that, for me, I'm only a second year teacher, so crafting questions is still something I take a lot of time and I think a lot about. It's definitely not easy, and I make sure that Hayley had my cards out before, but I have some resources that I use and look at what makes an effective question, and make sure that when I'm asking kids to create questions that I'm showing them, these are the types of questions we're looking for. I don't just say create a question. I need to scaffold them to that and give them some resources to help them. So show them the types of questions that will help us have a really effective discussion.
And I found the questions from the Verso, like, you know, some of the stuff that the resources that are on the Verso website as well, and how to actually articulate and structure a good question. Really good, you know, from someone who's a 20-year teacher and who's been out and doing it for a long time. You constantly need reminding, you know, of, oh yeah, I used to do that. I haven't been doing that very often anymore. Let's get back on it. And I really liked that. I went through all of those questions and really enjoyed seeing, yes, I can craft it that way. That's a really good way to do it.